Every culture on Earth tells the same story, that when we die, something of us remains, a presence in empty rooms, a shadow where no one stands. For thousands of years, people have claimed to see the dead, but are ghosts real, or is the human mind creating something it desperately wants to believe? Tonight, we delve deeply into the investigation. Episode 3, The First Ghost Stories. Long before modern ghost hunters, night vision cameras, or haunted house documentaries, people were already telling stories about the dead returning. Ancient civilizations believed that the boundary between the living and the dead was thin, sometimes dangerously thin. But the question is, were these simply stories meant to frighten people, or were they attempts to explain something genuinely unexplained? Because some of the earliest ghost accounts in history sound strangely familiar to the reports we still hear today. The earliest recorded ghost. One of the oldest known ghost stories dates back nearly 4,000 years to ancient Mesopotamia. Clay tablets describe rituals designed to deal with restless spirits, souls believed to wander the world of the living if they were not buried properly. In these early cultures, ghosts weren't entertainment, they were a serious concern. A neglected ancestor could supposedly bring illness, bad luck, or even madness. People believed the dead required attention, and if they didn't receive it, they might return to demand it. Ancient Egypt and the returning dead. The ancient Egyptians took the afterlife extremely seriously. Their elaborate burial practices were designed to ensure the soul could move safely into the next world. But even with pyramids, tombs, and complex rituals, Egyptians still feared that spirits might linger among the living. Some writings describe the living sending letters to the dead, asking them to stop haunting them, or pleading for help with problems in the world of the living. To them, ghosts weren't myths. They were part of everyday life. Ghosts in ancient Greece and Rome. By the time of the Greeks and Romans, ghost stories had begun to resemble the ones we recognize today. Philosophers debated whether spirits truly existed, while writers told tales of haunted houses and restless souls. One famous Roman story describes a philosopher renting a house that everyone else avoided. At night, he reportedly heard chains rattling through the halls until a ghost appeared and led him to a buried skeleton. When the bones were properly buried, the haunting stopped. Even 2,000 years ago, people were already describing classic haunted house encounters. Why these stories matter? What's remarkable isn't just that ghost stories existed in ancient times, it's how similar they are to the experiences people report today. Apparitions, unfinished business, spirits tied to places. The patterns repeat across cultures and centuries. Which raises a fascinating possibility. Are ghost stories simply a universal human way of coping with death? Or have people throughout history been encountering the same mysterious phenomenon? But if ghost stories have existed for thousands of years, there's another question we need to ask. Where do these spirits supposedly appear? Because across the world, certain places have gained reputations that refuse to fade, locations where people claim the boundary between the living and the dead is unusually thin. In the next episode, we explore haunted places and sightings, and why some locations seem to attract ghost stories again and again and again. Because if ghosts do exist, why do they always seem to appear in the same places? The mystery of what happens after death is far from solved. In the next episode, we push deeper into the question that has haunted humanity for centuries. Could consciousness survive the body, or are ghosts simply creations of the human mind? If you're curious about what we might discover next, subscribe and join the investigation as we continue asking, when we die, do we become ghosts?